can't wait to chat with you about this incredible album, Never Will. I can imagine it got a little stressful to release an album during a pandemic, which not a lot of people have done, right?
The good news about not a lot of people having ever done it is that the chances of us doing it wrong seem to be pretty low. So we were just like, I don't know if we should delay it. I don't think we should delay it because I need new music to listen to, so I know other people need new music to listen to.
How did the plans change when all this pandemic stuff, everything changes day by day with COVID and what you're allowed to do, not allowed to do? What have you had to change plan-wise with releasing this album, and how has it worked?
At first, it was sort of like we had to hit pause on everything. And it's like everything has stopped until further notice. So we're going to have to adjust. Normally, we're out here playing the shows. We're doing real handshakes, face-to-face, real hugs, and interacting with people. And so now we're like, well, what the closest we can get is if we do social media live streaming. That's the closest we can get. And, of course, those audiences may be a little smaller, but at least we get to actually interact, even though I'm on one side of the screen and they're on the other.
How comfortable are you with that so far? I am on the record for saying I hate FaceTime. I hate having a camera in front of my face and trying to connect that way, but I'll do it because that's the only way we can do it now. How do you feel about it?
I'm not the best at technology, so it really took a minute for me to figure out how to do a live thing without it having already been on for 2 minutes, and it's just like a video of me drinking chocolate milk on the couch. Like, that's super uncomfortable. But when it comes to playing songs, and talking to people, I'm good at that part. So if I can just get it to where I can see the comments and just try to tell myself they're still the same fans, you're still interacting with them. There's just a piece of plastic and metal between you.
Plus, what's really cool is with the live stream aspect, you get real-time reaction to new songs that you probably haven't played for people before, right?
Yeah, and everybody gets to see when it's live like that I mess up all the time, and I just kind of laugh about it. Or the dog jumps on the couch or comes and steals the pillow or something. I think it's nice to be super transparent right now while we have this ability to be like, please come into my living room.
Is there an aspect about being live that makes you nervous at all? Or now that you've done it so many times, you're like, come into my living room. I don't care if there's laundry on the floor. Don't worry about a thing.
The only thing I worry about is my mouth. I do have a tendency to have a potty mouth. And there are children, because, I do my show midday, and there are children at home now homeschooling with their parents, and they might be tuned in. And so I have to really just remind myself to use my company behavior and try to not use profanity as much.
Do you ever think about how you would have done back in the day? We had a great conversation about, bad advice you got from a teacher back in the day saying, why would you chase that dream? But how would you have done homeschooling, do you think?
As a student, I don't know. I was so bad at doing homework. It was so bad that my mother would make me sit in the kitchen or in the dining room, whatever was closest to her, so that she could walk past me and see that I was, in fact, doing my homework. And I would be like, okay, I'm going to do it, but I'm going to sing it. And I would sing my math problems. It was super annoying. My brother would throw things at me to get me to shut up. So I was just a really, really bad student. So I don't know if I would have done very well homeschooling.
When you're doing these live streams, obviously One Night Standards has a massive reaction, a massive following. Everybody loves it. Is there another one you played off the album that is getting a huge reaction, or is it different every day?
Right now, the one that I'm getting the most requests for is Delonica, and I'm getting those requests from essential personnel, especially nurses. They will send me a message or send me a tweet or something that says, please play Little Dive Bar again this week because we're out here trying to make the best of the worst days.
To the flat broke, couch cushion gas money, the worker bee that ain't getting no honey, the missing someone all the while running, gunning for the brighter lights. Here's to the breakups that didn't break us, the breakdown wrong turn that takes you to a little dive bar in Delonica. Hear a song from a band that saves you, man. It's a hidden rock bottom. Smoke 'em if you got 'em. Nothing's going right. Making the best of the worst day kind of night.
Wow, that's got to be so. That's why you make music, is to connect like that, and to get those requests from the people that are keeping us safe during this time. That's got to take that song to a whole new level for you.
It does, and it's really humbling, and it feels like such an honor and a privilege to have created something that people can turn to. That's a really big feeling, and it makes you kind of feel, like you're a small part of this big thing that music can do.
Do you have any connections, family-wise that are on the front lines or doing something, essential service-wise during this pandemic, or are you just staying home and trying to be safe like everybody else?
I'm home. My nephew, who is 27 now, is in Arkansas, and he is at a clinic scanning people, taking their temperature and testing for the virus. And then my sister, who lives in another part of Arkansas, is at the doctor's office trying to help take care of people. And they did give her the option, because she does have 2 kids, if you want to stay home, you should stay home. And she said, absolutely not. If I'm needed, I'm here. So I've got 2 of them out there.
How do you deal with that stress-wise? Do you just try and talk to them every day or FaceTime them every day or try and give them their space? Or because it's stressful for the rest of the family, because you know that people you love are putting their lives at risk every day to go to work, and you can't do anything about it.
Yeah, I keep trying to just tell myself there's nothing you can do about this. And you know that they are going to take every precaution to keep themselves healthy, and they absolutely will. They're going to have their masks, they're going to have their gloves, everything is going to be sterilized. The point is they're trying to help. So if you can just not focus on them being in danger, just focus on the fact that they're out there trying to help.
I think that's going to that message right there is going to help a lot of people that have the same people going to work every day, and because it's hard not to sit home and stress.
It's really hard to not stress, especially if you keep the news on at all, which I would not recommend.
No.
I can recommend several records or several really uplifting films if you like to watch. I am avoiding the news like I'm avoiding the virus. So, and again, yeah, that's the most important thing is my sister. Yes, she's in danger, but also I admire her heart so much for wanting to help, and the same for my nephew Bradley.
So when you're at home, other than making music and live streaming for families and kids and stuff during the day, what are you doing to pass the time? Are you binging Netflix like the rest of us? Are you watching old movies? Are you just playing your favorite records? What are you doing?
Both of those. So I'm binging everything I can find to binge. It just depends on the day, really. Taking in old records that I forgot about and listening to them the way a record should be listened to, top to bottom. There was so much thought put into putting those songs in a specific order. I'm going back to records like Port St. Joe by Brothers Osborne.
So good.
And then I'm going back to Jim Croce records and James Taylor and just songs that gave me comfort as a child that I didn't realize how comforting they were back then. And now I listen to Operator and I feel like everything's kind of okay for a minute.
But isn't it so nice, because we don't pause anymore to do that? Isn't it so nice to take a pause in your life, to sit there with a cocktail and your feet up and just, close your eyes and listen to these things the way they were intended to be listened to?
Yeah, and right now the sun has finally come out, which is nice, because when it's cloudy and you're stuck inside, it's terrible. And I've got this little house in a little really cool part of Nashville in a little bitty backyard, and I'll put a record on and go sit in just a camping chair outside with my sunglasses on and put my feet up. That is how to listen to a record.
But what cocktail do we have to have in our hand? Ashley McBryde approved. What are we making?
I've been making all kinds of stuff. I've had a fair amount of tequila while I've been home, but as always, a whiskey or a bourbon. And I don't really mix it with anything. Maybe some soda water, a little bit of ice. Just depends on what the bourbon is as to what it needs with it. Every once in a while, you can put maybe a splash of ginger ale in it, but I wouldn't suggest ruining whiskey with putting anything else in it.
You're going to have the poor people face down on their lawn tonight because they're trying to drink like Ashley McBryde. No, Ashley said I don't mix this. You just pour it straight in the cup. We should be fine.
Well, but to say it, and part of being an excellent drinker is knowing how much to pour and when to stop.
Well, it's tough, though, especially when the cocktail is really good. I want to talk to you a little bit about One Night Standers. Are you surprised with the incredible reaction it's gotten, or did you know that was coming the minute it was written?
I'm excited about it. I didn't know. When we wrote it, which was about 2 weeks before the record came out, I didn't know that was going to end up being the first single. And so I was very hopeful that they would let me put it on the record, and they did. And then they chose that as the first single, and I thought, oh, boy, well, we're going to find out how people feel about this. It's been a long time since Tammy and Loretta that we had this perspective on this specific subject. So once it started to climb the chart, this is the most success I've had on the charts here in the States. So very, very excited. I don't know that it was expected, but it's very welcomed.
For me, it's so refreshing to have a song about real things that we do deal with. There's a lot of fluffy romance love songs, and those are great, and we all have those. But we also have these songs that we really deal with more often than not when we're single, and it's so refreshing to be able to have a super incredible song like this to relate to.
Well, thank you. I think it's okay to, if we're going to say things about trucks and tan-legged girls and tailgates, if the guys can sing about it, then we can sing about it. And we can also point out the fact that it's really not that big a deal, man. Like, this is just kind of what happens at this part of our life.
I'm sure that's sort of the message that you've been getting through social media or however you connect with your fans is thank you for this song because I don't have to beat myself up or I don't have to feel a certain way about things that happen every day.
Yeah, that's the most often thing I hear is thanks for just calling it like it is.
But isn't that exactly what country music is about? 3 chords and the truth, and we rarely get a song like this, and I think that's why it connects so much.
Yeah. Country music it's about telling a story, and it's about doing it honestly and even when it's uncomfortable. Because if it's a way that you feel, then it's a way that you're not the only person in the world that feels that way. So that is why country music is so special, because I'll write a song that day feels very specific to me, and it gets the chance to help somebody else.
I love it. I've kind of had the album on repeat since it came out, so thank you for getting me through my pandemic. I want to get you out of here on 2 questions. One, do you have any advice for those struggling with, being self-isolated and going through this pandemic right now?
If I had advice to give, it would be the same advice I give for other things. If you're really, really feeling down and you really, really need help somebody else. That's going to help you more than wallowing in it or trying to wrestle it to the ground. Call somebody and make their day better, and that's going to help you through yours.
Who do you call to make their day better if you're feeling down? Who's your first call on your list?
I call Dana Johnson, my hair and makeup girl, and I'll find out if they're having snacks or a cocktail or whatever. We just, FaceTime for a minute and uplift each other.
That's perfect. Last, I want to bring you into the show a little bit today. We're going to talk about nicknames and how you got them. Do you have a nickname? And if you do, how did you get it?
When I was a little bitty girl, they called me Tweety Bird because I didn't have hardly any hair, and what hair I had was just absolutely white blonde. And I had these big blue eyes and this big fat round head. So they called me Tweety Bird. And then for some reason, when I got older, my cousin Rocky started calling me Leroy, and we still have no idea for a short time of my life, a whole couple of years of my life, they called me Leroy.
I think we like Tweety Bird a little bit better than Leroy, right?
Absolutely.